Hi, my name is Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses with Healthy Black Woman, and this is my good friend Shaquita Graham with Loving the Black Man and ATechco.com. How are you doing today, Shaquita?
I'm doing all right, Noma. How are you?
I'm doing great. So our segment today on Your Black Women, we were going to discuss a topic that you brought up because you saw a very interesting tweet about Beyonce and her performance at the Superbowl, that halftime performance that everybody is talking about. So what was the tweet?
So, of course, the usual suspects are out on Twitter calling her the N-word, calling her every ungodly name out there. And I read a tweet that says now Beyonce has gone from being a house Negro to being a field Negro.
Well, did they use the word Negro or the other N-word?
No, they didn't use the word Negro. No. They used the other N-word with the ER.
Okay.
So, I mean, to me, this signals that she was doing something right, because anytime, those suspects say that you have gone from a house Negro to a field Negro, that to them may be a bad thing, but I've always seen it as a good thing based on Malcolm X's explanation of it. So I don't know. It's been crazy just to read all the comments that are being made about Cam Newton and Beyonce. I've never seen the N-word so many times in my life. It is ridiculous, but it just shows that they must be doing something constructive.
Right. You know what I find interesting about this conversation about Beyonce is I felt like her and her husband, rapper Jay-Z, I felt like in recent years they've been under a lot of scrutiny where people say there's a lot of things going on in the Black community. People even say that we're in the middle of what's brewing up as a race war, and they seem to be very, very detached from it and uninvolved, won't comment on it, won't contribute to it, won't get involved in any way. And this is quite a departure from that in the sense that, I've heard people defend her and say actually she does do things. She just doesn't happen to run her mouth about it all the time. But this was very bold. It was very deliberate. And I saw that performance, that halftime performance at the Super Bowl. And I remember admitting to you in our conversation just earlier that I didn't understand what it was about until I started reading a lot of articles and seeing all the little things that she had actually put in there to make some very, very deliberate and bold statements. So if you ask me, does she deserve that title of, going from the house to the field? That's obviously not the way I would put it, but I would say she's certainly making a shift from the yes, sir, yes, I'm boss, I'll go along with whatever you're saying to, hey, if you won't respect me and you want to kill us and you want to do these horrible things to us, I'm pushing back, I'm raising my fist, I'm saying something, I'm protesting, I'm saying no, and I won't let it continue while I stay silent. So I think this is a good thing regardless. What do you think?
I think that, number one, I try not to focus so much on what a certain person is doing against oppression. I feel like if my people are being oppressed and I'm being oppressed, I need to look at myself first and determine what am I going to do. So I try not to go too far in people's history. When they start to show that they're on my team and they're fighting oppression, I go with that. I just go with that. So I feel like her statement was important because it's all about image to me. I mean, the issues with the Oscars, the issue with the new Nat Turner movie, Jaden Smith, our image is so important. And when we are in this system of oppression, one major weapon that's used against us is to turn our image in a way that it makes us lose self-respect for one another, and it makes others have a lack of respect for us as Black people, which allows this cycle of abuse or makes it tolerable to see our children gunned down in the street. And so when you have people with a platform, I think that they should use it for the purpose of uplifting our image, for empowering our people. I think what is really good is that she has left a breadcrumb trail, if you will, about historic events like the Black Panther movement. She's called attention to police brutality, police terrorism against the Black community. She talked about so many important things. She paid homage to Malcolm X, and she's speaking to a generation that may have missed all of this. So, that video is going to be played a lot. That music is going to be performed a lot. So I think it's positive.
Okay. I think we're on the same page in the sense that we are saying that there's definitely been a shift in her message. And like I said before, we probably wouldn't call it going from the house to the field or whatever the Twitter crowd was calling it. But certainly we are seeing a shift, and we wholeheartedly support the shift. I personally, and I think I brought this up earlier, I do think that sometimes people get distracted by overanalyzing things. Talking about the fact that her thighs and her whatever body was out and she was twerking, talking about her hair and that she didn't have the afro that everybody had and all this. And those are little things compared to the broader message. And I think that people do choose what they want to focus on. And I personally choose to support the fact that she has made that shift where she's becoming more vocal in her own way. She's an entertainer. She's a performer, and she's built it into her performance that she's saying something and she's standing up. And I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I actually like Beyonce more now than ever before. I've typically not been a fan. I've honestly been indifferent to her music and her performances. I don't really watch, but not that I have anything against her. It's just not my thing, But I will say in this most recent conversation, I'm with her. I like what she did. And I think she did it in her own way. And I think that that's something we can applaud.
I mean, my thing is I hope that it does empower and inspire other people to use their platform for the empowerment of their people, as far as whether it's uplifting the image or wherever your platform is, use it for that purpose. My platform is technology. I try to use that as a way to empower the Black community through techco.com and things like that, because I do believe that technology holds a power to help us defend ourselves from our oppressors and to eliminate oppressive forces. But if anybody's going to have a problem with Beyonce, then they should definitely be outraged by things like some sort of lab tech who sabotaged and jailed like 40,000 inmates by 40,000 victims in the criminal system by switching lab results and drug tests. There was a whole system that supported her in that. And then you have things like these cops in Alabama padding the criminal records of innocent people for over like a decade. I mean, you have people like Rudy Giuliani speaking out where his daughter is like a shoplifter. If you're going to be outraged about a Super Bowl performance, then you should be out in the streets about this. So I feel like her standing up for her community should be a normal thing, and Black people standing up for their community and giving respect to our leaders and our heroes should be a normal thing. Just like Oxford felt like it was important to keep a statue of the extreme terrorist Cecil Rhodes at their college, because they feel like, well, we want to open dialogue is what they said, and people who can't tolerate different perspectives and different views need to get educated elsewhere. So people who can't tolerate Beyonce talking about Malcolm X, who was an American hero, talking about the Black Panthers, who are American heroes, then they need to turn the channel.
Right. And that's a good note to end on. You're certainly not forcing anybody to watch or listen when you're performing like Beyonce is. And if it's not for you, then, just don't watch. I just want to remind our viewers that this is Shaquita Graham of ateco.com and lovingtheblackman.com. I'm Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses with healthyblackwoman.com, and this has been Your Black Woman, where Black women keep it real. Thank you, Shaquita, for joining me in this conversation. And thanks, guys, for watching.